Hi, I'm Valerie Engelhardt, and in this video I am going to paint a loose floral composition inspired by this bouquet that I photographed at the local coffee shop. I don't know what this is, but it makes me think of a geranium. There's a purple carnation and some leaves. And I want to mostly just use my 3/8 inch dagger striper brush and just whatever colors I have on hand. Because the cluster flower is the focal point, I'm going to pick a spot for it. I think about right here. I'm going to pick up some pink, and I notice that the petals are done with like 4. They've got like 4 petals, so 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this is just really loose. I am not looking to get this exact. I just want to have some fun. So there's going to be some behind it. And I'm using the tip of my brush as the center and moving out of the flower around it. I'm going to drop in some stronger color in the center to give some variation to these petals. And if I want to make things paler, just add more water. And this sort of a loose floral style is great for like doing greeting cards or things that you want to like scan and maybe make a pattern out of. Because florals are always in style, and loose watercolor florals, they never seem to go out of style. I'm going to grab just this little round brush. And while this pink is very beautiful, it's a little monotonous. I'm going to drop just a bit of red. Just little bits of red. Just to give me some variation. That's one of the great things about watercolor is how it blends and merges together. So I want to take advantage of that. And I'm just trying to pay attention to the shape of this flower, not looking to get it exactly alike. Some of these petals are not as important, so I'm not even going to add red to those ones. And I'm going to have a lot of water with my pink. Like honestly, that looks pretty good as it is. Now, if I were to introduce green, the green is going to flood into those petals more than likely, or down here, the pink would actually flood into the green, so I think I'd like that. I don't even know what green this is. I'm just going to use it. And I want to think about composition. I like, even though this is very up and down, I like movement. So let's go here. See, that green is bleeding up into the pink. If that's something you don't like, then when you make your stem, don't touch the pink petals. I'll just use a lot of pressure and lift. That is a very light leaf, so I want more pigment. I'll just do it again. Look at what a lovely leaf this can create, using pressure, a twist, and a lift. Pressure, twist, and lift. And if you don't like this edge, no worries. I'm going to find where I want the tip of that leaf and meet it up. Look at that. Really pretty. I'm just going to leave that for now because I do want to put a carnation right here. Actually putting a leaf right here to lead into the carnation because it would lead our eye. Seems like a good idea. So I'm gonna pick up more of this green. And with the tip, push, twist and lift. There we go. While this is wet, if you want to drop in other colors, it is the perfect time to do it. But I like the variation that I'm already getting just with this paint, so I'm gonna leave it alone. If you don't like this gap right here, just encourage the paint up and down. Rinse my brush, nice and clean. I'm gonna pick up this purple. I don't even remember what these paints are. I just remember that if they're in here, I like them. Let's see, a Carnation has kind of wavy petals. My tip of the brush is going towards the center of the flower, and I'm just wiggling my brush to create those jagged edges. And I'm leaving some gaps because this is a loose floral. So I'm not making this realistic. I want to create the feel of the flower without it being a botanical representation. That's really blue. That's a very blue purple. I want to warm it up. What's this one? Oh, this looks like a much warmer purple. So let's go in and I'm just gonna keep going. And I'm gonna let those fuse and blend. Now, I don't really want these to touch. So what I can do is bring some of this purple, leave a small white gap, find a gap in between, and just paint a little bit of purple there to make it look like the petals are actually behind my, I guess, geranium. I'm just careful because I don't want them to touch too much or they will bleed. It sounds so metal. All right, the stark contrast between this bluer purple and this redder purple I'm not as fond of. So I'm just going to drop in a little bit of that warmer violet into the cooler purple. Oh, look, I touched that leaf and now the green is bleeding in. Oh, and I had some paint on my finger. But look at that. We're getting this bleed. Now, if I start messing around in it, it will probably turn into a muddy color. Let's turn this light off so you can see it much better. See? But that can actually look really great as is left alone. Regarding this spot here, I'm gonna first just grab my paper towel, press and lift. There is a line there. So I'm going to rinse my brush, just water. I'm gonna lightly scrub. Paper towel, I'm not rubbing, I'm pressing, lift, and now it's just a small shadow. And I can even do it again. Not every pigment is going to lift very easily, but this one's done a very good job. And now it's almost imperceptible. And then clean off your finger so that you don't make the same mistake. Now for the Carnation, I can use a different green. I don't want to do that. I think this is a green. And Carnations have like this underneath. And just like with the flower, I don't really want these greens to touch, so I'm gonna paint right up along it, but not touch it. And then I'm gonna bring that stem down. I did touch some of the petals and that's bleeding in. I'm cool with it. I love what's going on right here. That is the magic of watercolor. This is looking a bit flat though. Rinse my brush, tap off the excess moisture, and I'm just gonna lift some of this extra pigment off. I'm gonna lift it, dab it on my paper towel, lift it, dab it on my paper towel. And who says I can't have a little bit of that lighter green? So I'll drop that in. little more of that lighter green, because I can see on this carnation that there are like these little bits coming out. And there we go. Now, there's supposed to be more going on up here. So let's not just leave this here. There's all this white space. Let's fill this in. So I'm gonna rinse my brush and let's see. So I can pull out another color entirely, completely different green, but the more colors you add, the more, or rather, I guess the more distracting, less cohesive it can become. So I'm gonna grab that lighter green we have, and I'm gonna find a spot that I like. I think in between here. And I'm gonna have this do an S curve up. Get more water on my brush. I'm gonna pick up more of that green. And I'm gonna make a leaf right there at the top. Let's have a fun with both these greens. I'm gonna quickly try and paint these leaves using the lighter green. And sometimes you don't, ooh, look, big old drop. That's fine. More pigment. You can just eyeball however you want these leaves to look. And if you don't like a leaf, just rework it. Now, it's pretty, but it's a little flat, isn't it? Let's grab that cooler green, some more of a blue green, and I'm gonna dot it where these leaves meet the stem. And that's just gonna help create some depth. And if we want to actually kind of marry this a little bit more, let's maybe grab some of that lighter or warmer purple. And in a couple spots that are still wet, maybe just drop in a little. So that's looking pretty nice. Now we don't have a lot going on down here, and we can change that. We can add more leaves that go behind, but you want to be careful about becoming too distracting. So I'm going to take a look. Is there any place I want to maybe add some? And we don't have to make these botanically accurate, as I've pointed out before. We just need these to look pretty. We just need to have fun. So let's see. I actually really like this S curve we have. I don't feel like I want to fill anything here. So I think that this is a pretty good composition. I'm going to leave it here. So thank you so much for watching. If there's anything you want to see me paint, let me know in the comments below, because I'm always looking out for new subjects or techniques to help my fellow artists out. And I will see you next time. Thanks again for watching. Bye.